Following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Conor Commentary, a hilarious take on news, politics, sports, and current events. It's time to buckle up. Here's Conor.
All right, welcome back, guys. I'm officially done trying to guess what episode it is. I think it got lost in translation. Last week we were thinking it was like 16, 17, so somewhere around there, but I appreciate you tuning in. We have very special guest, the gambling expert, I'm going to call you, Harold Anthony, a.k.a. Harold Ittarelli. You said Harold was your stage name,
Harold,
right?
My stage name.
Your
I'll
stage
go by
name.
Harold, that works.
Yep, straight out of Chase's. You wore the apparel.
Yeah,
I appreciate
we in the
that.
house, Chase's.
Chase's, which is literally like a stone throw away from here. It's right down the street. It's like less than a mile.
Exit 1, Salem, New Hampshire.
There you go.
For all your gambling needs.
Which is everything, right? You have blackjack, poker, roulette. What else is there? There's some funky games, right?
There's some funky games. There's Mississippi Stud.
Okay.
Crisscross poker. We have 1-2 no limit.
Cross-dressing
2-5 no
poker.
limit. Cross-dressing poker. That would be an interesting game. I think.
Now that would get Harold a little too excited.
No, exactly. I might get thrown out.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And you deal all of them, right?
Game.
So if anyone wants to come, they can come see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure you throw a generous tip, for your services.
Tipping is never required, but always appreciated.
Never required, but always appreciated. I like that. All right, we're going to get into the troll of the week, and I have the funniest one yet. This one is extra bizarre. So somebody on Twitter, again, with no picture, like usual, from an account where their name was capital IDK, which normally I would assume stands for...
I don't know.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. But this person sent a message in that said, all it said was, racist shit. I don't know what that meant or what it was in reference to, but I would be dumbfounded to find it to be in reference to the show or anything that I've said. So I had to look up the account, of course. So I click on the kid or adult. I don't know if it's a man or woman or whoever it might be. And it was mostly in a foreign language. And the majority of it was just retweeting gay porn. And I swear to God, I'm not.
You gotta be shitting.
I swear to God. So
that's fantastic.
I was dumbfounded by it. So there's a thing where you can see where they're tweeting from. This person was tweeting from Central Visayas. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Couldn't even make a
reference,
guess.
right? Ed, no idea?
No idea.
I looked it up. So it was Central Visayas, which is like an island on the outside of the Philippines.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's bad because, unfortunately, they think that I'm saying not very nice things. But the good thing about it is that somebody in Central Visayas, which is the outskirts of the Philippines, has seen the show.
That's awesome.
So
Wow.
that's really good.
You're finding the good in everything.
Absolutely, Harold. So somebody in a foreign country that you've never heard of could be listening to this.
You're reaching
Kind of makes me nervous.
You're reaching a big audience.
I'm reaching a big
with
audience.
your racism.
Apparently. I mean, whatever it takes. No press is bad press, right? Or all press is good press, whatever they say.
Sure.
I mean, we had the kid in Canada a couple of weeks ago, which was funky. But when we looked into it, he was in Boston and was from Canada, I think. So this is really reaching a further audience now. We're going global here. And then we got my mother's pick, so we got to keep it up with Beat Pete. Pete, if you're listening, man, I think it's time to wave the white flag. My mom is 14 games up, and there's only 3 weeks left in the season. I think she's going to take it. Harold?
Sounds like a lock to me.
I would say so. Would
you have to get very unlucky?
Absolutely.
To lose this.
So you being a gambling expert, would you gamble on my mother beating Pete this season?
For Pete to win. It's what
Plus
800.
It's got to be at least plus 800.
Plus 800
because it would have to be 5 losses 3 weeks in a row.
Oh.
So she's got to be like negative 1,000
Your mom's
on the
just
money
too
line.
consistent to lose to that.
I think that's what it is.
Unless he
Like,
he goes into expert mode and really kicks it into high gear in the last 3 weeks.
That's what we're waiting for, him being the expert, for him to kick it in expert mode and to see what he can do. But we'll see. They tied last week, so I'll give it to him there. They both went 10-6. So that brings Pete's record on the year to 119, 87-1, and that makes my mom 134, 73-1. So like I said, she's 14 games up now. So he's got a lot of ground to cover if he wants to even make it competitive.
She's coming on the show when she wins.
I'm still trying to plan on it. Yeah,
you got to work on that.
I know.
Awesome.
There's a lot of requests for her. She's by popular demand. We're gonna have to make something happen.
We'll
of some
make
sort.
something happen.
Exactly. We got faith. So let's see. The first game we got Thursday night. It's Baltimore and the Jets. I think my mom's going to take Baltimore. And just before I even go through this, it looks like a lot of them are going to be no-brainers, so it's going to be more difficult for him to gain any ground because there's so many games that aren't going to be that close, like theoretically. So Baltimore, the Jets, my mom's going Baltimore. Kansas City and Denver, my mom's going to go Kansas City. They got lucky last week, huh? Were you at the game? I know you go all the time.
Buddy, I should have went. You could have got in the door for $90 at game time.
Really?
Oh, nobody travels in the cold.
That's true.
Bunch of slackers, dude.
That's true. I know you'll get out there.
Couple pops, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even feel it. You'll think it's a nice day out.
Yeah, it would have been a good time. But
Yeah, see, I don't have a lot of sympathy.
No,
with all the complaining about refs and all. You know what? You know what you do? You just suck less and don't put yourself in the position where it matters.
Well, that's good because before we even get started, after my mom's picks, I have a specific question that came in on Instagram for you specifically, Ed.
All right.
So we're gonna have to talk about that real quick. Then we got Philadelphia, Washington. Man, they squeaked it out on Monday night. My mom is gonna take Philly. Washington is just in tank mode, I think. Tampa Bay, Detroit. My mom's going to take Tampa Bay. We got New England, Cincinnati. My mom's going to go New England. I think she thinks that they're going to win because they're mad about the fake scandal. So
they're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. Then we got Seattle, Carolina. My mom's going to go Seattle on that one. Speaking of tanking teams, it's going to be the race for first place here, I think. Miami and the Giants. My mom is going to take the Giants. Eli Manning. He looked all right.
I think that's a bad pick.
You do?
Yeah.
You think Miami's going to do it?
I think Miami's going to do it.
We'll see. I mean,
didn't they rattle off like 3 in a row?
Fitzmagic has been doing all right. Yeah. He might be a guy to look at in DraftKings this week. Terrible defense, and he loves to sling it.
Tune in late in the game. If Eli's got his extra pouty face on, it means things are not going well.
Yep. He came out firing, though. They scored. They looked like they were going to win, and then the Eagles had no choice, man. They're fighting for their playoff lives there. Too stinky.
I think
teams.
Eli even wants to be out there at this point.
At this point, he's making what, like $30 million a year or whatever it is.
Oh.
They've got
good
all
for
them.
Him, you know?
Good for him.
I'll
exactly.
trot out there for $30 million.
For $30 million, yeah. What you're going to take? What 5-6 hits?
I would do unimaginable things for
$30 million.
There'd be a lot of intentional grounding.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just throw it. Just heave it. Half the time, that's what he does, anyways. $30 million, and that's just 1 year. He does that. He's been doing that for ages now. That's what happens when you beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You go and get paid huge money.
That's fair.
Must be nice. Then we got the soaring Tennessee Titans versus Houston. My mom is going to take Tennessee, so we'll see there.
I like that pick too.
Yeah, that's a ballsy pick.
Definitely.
Ryan Tannehill's on fire.
Whole different team with him.
Whole different team. He was so bad with Miami. He was just like irrelevant, and now it's like he was like the number 2 ranked fantasy quarterback in the past like 6-7 weeks. Guys going off. It was, yeah. I saw something like that on Twitter. He was like the number 2. I mean, last week he threw for a bunch of yards. They scored 42 points. They went off again.
Connor, the comments are running in favor of your guest. It says, "This is gold." Wow. Anthony Idarelli. That's from Marshall Daniels.
Yeah. Shout out to Marshall. Shout out to Marshall Daniels. How you doing? Marshall Daniels is a good man. I used to work with him over at Commonwealth. So if you need a car, go see Marshall. The Shop Us Last commercials, you'll love him. Marshall's a great man. Go to Nissan, though, all right? Make sure it's Nissan. Nowhere else.
Mike Del Monte just says, "Wow, Harold."
Speaking of another legend. They're on. Right. We're going live. That was a good call by Ed. I was like, should we wait till 5? But people are watching.
People need to hear this.
I like it.
We're still waiting for a creepy comment from Pat O'Leary, so we're sure that'll come in, but we'll wait on that one. All right, where were we? Speaking of fans, we got Green Bay, Chicago, and two of my buddies. One's a huge Bears fan, the other one's a huge Green Bay fan. They're taking a bus all the way out there. That's how dedicated they are. They're going out to Lambeau.
Just drive your own car, dude. Are you shitting me?
I don't know. They must.
A bus?
I think that's what I'm told.
You're going to tailgate. You're going to pay more in Ubers. Just drive your own car.
That's a good point, but I don't know.
I've been there. I've done that, man. You know this.
I know. You've traveled. You travel everywhere.
Oh, I flew to Chicago and drove to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Did you? You going to the Super Bowl this year if the Patriots make it?
I have already got a flight booked.
Do you really?
I'm going to Fort Myers, going to drive down with my buddy Hennessy.
You going to go to the game? Or are you going to go to the Gronk beach party?
I'm not going to the Bronx.
$500 to go to the Gronk
To tell you the
beach
truth,
party.
I don't like that. Hey, I got an announcement.
Yeah, I did.
Fuck yourself. I was just not a fan of that.
I personally did not fall for it. I knew he was going to come out with some fugazi thing.
Well, I'm such a chooch. I picked him up in my fantasy leagues because I was really slacking a tight end.
Hey, it's not a bad try.
Well, good try, Harold.
You got
idiot.
to swing for the fences.
Yeah.
He only weighs about
it is what it is.
110 pounds now.
I know. He's a lot skinnier. He really is a
Honestly.
lot skinnier.
Hey, I was optimistic.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of the Gronk beach party, I think. But on that one, my mom is going to take Green Bay at home at Lambeau. Good luck to you guys. LA Chargers versus Minnesota. My mom is going to take Minnesota. That shouldn't be a tough one. We got the tanking Oakland Raiders versus the we give up Jacksonville Jaguars. My mom's going to take Oakland in that one. You heard it here first. Josh Jacobs is going to play, guys. We got Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns. Wow. My mom is going to take Cleveland there. That should be an unimpressive
Seems like
game.
a no-brainer.
Yeah, I would think. Two not great teams. Here's going to be a great game. Two teams fighting for their lives. Dallas and the Rams. My mom is going to take Dallas. Dallas is at home. The Rams are soaring, though. The past two games, they came to life.
I don't think they can win the division. They can only get a wild card.
They
now.
can.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, they can. I think because the 49ers and the Seahawks are in the same division, and they're both on fire. What a game by the 49ers, huh? Did you see that, Ed?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was unreal. Both teams just could not stop
I just
scoring.
watched the end of it. I skipped.
Yeah,
the
so
beginning.
you watched just at the end when George Kittle just went beast mode.
I turned off Red Zone to watch that game.
Did you? Yeah, I don't
did.
blame you.
I mean, I'm usually super dedicated to Red Zone.
I
but
am
was
too.
Like, this is the game.
Yeah, every week I got to give a shout out to Scott Hansen. That guy's incredible. So
What is it? One bathroom break in 5 years or something? Good for him.
my dad always says to me, he's like, when does this guy go to the bathroom? I'm like,
Honestly.
I don't know. Like, I think he just drinks 2 Red Bulls and goes for 8 hours, and he doesn't lose energy.
Really, honestly.
Shout out to that. Shout out to Scott Hansen. Then speaking of San Francisco, we got San Francisco, Atlanta. Atlanta's been playing good lately, but my mom's going to go to the 49ers there. That should be another no-brainer. Sunday night, we got a great game. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Wow. I did make the bold prediction on air, so everyone heard that the Bills were going to beat the Ravens last week.
I was feeling that way too.
Not so much, but hey, they played a heck of a job,
Definitely.
dude. They hung in there the whole time. I think they stopped Lamar Jackson as much as anyone.
I hope the Bills get into the playoffs, dude.
They're gonna.
I went to Buffalo for a game before. They are lunatics.
Right.
But don't let them fool you. They're sweethearts.
Are they?
They're good
Right,
people. They're
right.
good
I
shits.
think they are.
They're
yeah.
there for the laughs, just like us.
Right, they go ballistic, but they're not actually like
I mean, I did see a
assholes.
couple guys jump through the tables. But
Yeah.
That's just,
They lived, right?
They lived.
All right, that's all that matters. My mom is going to go Buffalo there. Me personally, I think Mike Tomlin is hands down the coach of the year. He's working with that third-string quarterback, and they look like they're going to make the playoffs at this point because the defense just doesn't stop.
So it's going to be the Wildcats then in Buffalo.
Them in Buffalo, that's what I think. That's my prediction. I can't see. Maybe Tennessee's fighting for a spot. Outside of that, speaking of the last game on Monday night, I think Indianapolis is out. Indianapolis is playing New Orleans.
Are they out, Indy?
Not technically, but I
Right.
think they're like 6-7. And at this
They
point,
looked
that's
dangerous
not going
for
to
a
make
while.
it. Jacoby Brissett's having a great year for himself. Congrats to that kid. Another Patriots prodigy.
Moving on up, third string guy.
Third string guy. Now he's a
couple years
starter.
later.
No one cashed out more than he did when Andrew Luck decided to retire. all of a
You ain't
sudden,
shit, buddy.
he's playing backup. He's like kind of fighting for a job. Will probably be second string. The next day, they're like, "How does $30 million guaranteed sound?" or whatever he signed for. They gave him a ton of money. My mom is going to take New Orleans in that one. And Harold, we got to get into it. I want to start getting your great gambling expert advice. But before, we did have a specific question, which Ed already, I think, is going to not agree with or something. It came in from my friend Sean Whitaker on Instagram, and he wanted to get your full opinion on the officiating and specifically the N'Keal Harry call. I put a picture of that up, and he's like, let's get the full analysis from Ed on that.
All right. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear what the rules say, right?
Right.
I mean, there was nothing outside of the rules on that. You know, the officials afterwards admitted they did not have a good view of the play.
Right.
Right. It really isn't their job, though, to default to touchdown
Yeah.
and figure it out later, which is what some people's point of view is.
Right.
So, I mean, it's clear they blew the call.
Right.
That's it.
Yep. But you think that Patriots should have scored regardless, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more worried that Belichick used his last challenge on a fairly meaningless play.
Right.
You know,
I actually said to my old man, watch, this second challenge is going to come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. Which one was the second challenge?
It was on
got it
a
correct.
first
The fumble.
down.
It was the fumble, wasn't it?
Wasn't it a first down call? That
The first down was
Yes,
the first
and-
one.
and
stupid
so
first
he
down
got a
one. That one was
I think he
bad.
got a
Horrible call
respot
there.
that was still a first down.
Right,
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a bad spot, but it was clearly a first down. I
Right.
thought.
And then when they respotted, though, they spotted it. It was like whether or not he made it to the 39, and they gave him the 40.
Yeah, but you know,
So they did move the ball on that first blown call or whatever. I thought the rule was if you got two right, you got a third one. Isn't
I
Right.
don't even
The fir-
know where
It
the
is.
rules are at.
The first one was technically wrong, though, because he challenged two things. He challenged pass interference, and he challenged that they didn't get a first down, and they called both of those wrong. So then the second challenge was when Travis Kelce fumbled. He got that right,
Right.
and unfortunately they blew the play dead, which if they didn't, then Stephon Gilmore likely could have scored a touchdown because he scooped
I
up
don't
that
know.
fumble.
At least-
There were people
he's
in
at
the
least
area.
close.
He
There
would
were.
have gone further, but I don't know
Right.
about the touchdown.
I looked back at it because I wanted to see, and there were people in the area. The only thing was it looked like they were offensive linemen.
Yeah,
So I don't know how elusive he could have been. If not, they definitely would have tackled him.
And you don't know. It's hard
You-
to
you
say
have no
because
idea.
you don't know when he reacted to the whistle versus the people who now are in the
Right.
in the shot.
And you know
So,
what? A lot of the times when they blow the whistle, the person keeps running.
Yeah.
So it's like they blow the whistle, and a lot of people give up, and then they look like they're still going to
Right.
go.
Sometimes, they just keep going for a while.
Right. They blew it way too early, but you know what? You can't blame the refs as much as we'd like to. And
No.
they did stink.
Well, you know, there's
They did-
some
they
weeks
did
when we
stink.
get some calls in our favor too.
We
so,
do.
Every
you
year.
know,
I mean,
it is what it is.
I don't think there's a
don't
team
know.
out there that can say that they haven't received calls in their favor and haven't
it's-
gotten screwed at the same time.
It's just it looks more in our favor because the Patriots
but-
are on such a big stage every week.
I agree.
In the balance sheet, we got to give up a lot for the tuck rule.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
That-
listen, I
mean,
guess rules are rules,
the
but
rule's the
anybody
rule.
on
Right.
earth that watches that says, well, yeah, clearly that's a fumble.
Oh, of course, it was, but based on the rule, it
I mean,
wasn't.
he was going forward with his strong hand.
Yeah. What's that scary movie too? I got my strong hand. Yeah, he threw it and then he brought it back, which apparently then it doesn't constitute a fumble. Well, now it does, but back then it didn't.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, for me, if you're going to get into officiating, both teams had to play well and execute everything perfectly. If you then lose based on officiating, okay, gripe about it. But
Right.
the Patriots did not play well.
Right.
The missed calls being so close together, I think, has a lot to do with how pissed we are.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree because it wasn't until like the end of the third, fourth quarter where there were like 3 calls in a row where they all stunk.
I also want to say I can't believe the freaking boo birds at halftime.
Oh,
that
wow,
was,
yeah.
that was one of the loudest boos I think I've ever heard.
They did boo the offense.
That was a little much being down at 10 at halftime.
Being down
Come
at
on,
10 and
guys.
they made a comeback.
Mostly the stuff I saw on Twitter was just shitting on the fans for pulling that nonsense.
Right.
Absolutely.
How do you
after
boo
all
Tom
this,
Brady after all this? Although they are struggling, but we'll see going forward. I think they'll be all right. I'm not too worried.
Listen, Brady's not at the same level he was. I don't think anyone can dispute that.
Right.
But boy, it'd be nice if somebody would block for him. And
If
it'd
someone
be
would block
also
for him and if
nice
someone would get open.
if he even had
Get the
an
practice
adequate
squad.
second receiver.
Right. I saw a thing the other day. It was like their blocking is like 21st in the league, and he has the most drops out of any quarterback
Yeah.
out there. So it's
Does he really?
He does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
not
most
even.
drops and like he's not getting blocking.
It's barely fair to evaluate him on whether he's declining because the whole team declined around him.
Right, exactly. So it looks like it, but it's hard to say because he doesn't have much around him.
Oh, we'll see how he does wherever he goes next year.
Oh, don't say that, Ed. He's
Who's
staying.
that, Tom Brady?
He's
Yeah.
staying. Come on, he has
I've
to
said
stay.
that a couple times. I'm not going to lie. I kind of get that feeling.
Yeah,
I
a
could
couple
see it.
people do. I'm hoping it's not true because he's going to play for a couple more years. So I hope it's with us. I don't want to. I can't see him playing in another uniform. It'll kill me. I'll have to root for that team.
I'll have to root for that team. I'm rooting for the Niners, dude.
I
Jimmy
like
G,
the
dude.
Niners. My mom loves
I'm a
the
fan.
Niners, so
I'm
I
a
got to
fan
root
of
for the
Jimmy G.
Niners as well. We got to root for them.
We better get to the gambling.
I know.
Because
Speaking,
I know you do gambling shows now. You're addicted or something.
I'm addicted. They got sports gambling coming, don't they, Harold?
Absolutely. Sports gambling is coming to New Hampshire. It's already approved in a few
Is it?
cities. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
So a couple of cities already have it coming.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure Salem has one. I know it's going to be at Seabrook. They're already
Yep.
planning for it in Manchester. It's coming. It's coming fast, and it's coming before Mass. And
It's coming way before
word on the
Mass,
street
right?
is from all the degenerates is that it's going to be around for March Madness.
Wow.
So maybe sometime between the Super Bowl and college basketball championships.
So March Madness is only 3 months away. So we're looking at that coming really soon.
I mean, you're probably going to have just new gaming rooms opening just specifically for that.
Right. Now, do they have to get like licensed and
Oh,
zoned?
yeah, you got to get approved. They're not just handing these licenses away.
Right.
And then the city has to vote on it.
Oh, okay. But what if they
I had
already
it in front of me? I know one city that has one of these card rooms in New Hampshire.
Yep.
The city voted it down, and they are bullshit. Like,
Really?
besides themselves.
Why would they vote it down?
Gambling brings crime and prostitution, and people gambling the mortgage, and it's just like they're gonna do it anyway. I mean, people get the bookie. Everyone's got a bookie in their pocket anyway.
I honestly think it's a good thing because everyone who has a bookie for the overwhelming
the state's gonna get a cut.
Right. Not only is the state gonna get a cut, because you were saying before we even hopped on the show that it's 35% goes to charity.
New Hampshire gaming, 35% goes right to a charity. It's a different charity every week or every other day, something like that. And you can look on the websites, the Chase's website. They have it written down there, how much they've given to charity. I mean, they've been open 2 years. And
it must be an astronomical amount at this point.
It's... It's a substantial sum. It's a lot of money.
So you know what? But even on top of that, they're worried about people being degenerates and gambling away the mortgage, right? That's kind of, I mean, again, I don't want to say it's not like possible, but it's way more possible if you have a bookie because most people who have a bookie gamble on credit. If you go to the casino, you can't gamble on credit because
you can't gamble what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly. You can't gamble what you don't have.
Exactly.
So if you're gambling illegally and you have a bookie, you can gamble as much as the limit will allow you, and then you can really get in deep.
It's something I want to think of, dude. That's why I'm not big on sports betting. Right. For that exact reason. Can't control myself. Can't lose what I don't bring into the room, you know?
Exactly. All right. So people who are just starting to gamble, I know it's a huge thing. Massachusetts just came in with Encore. They got a couple casinos popping up. They're dragging their feet super slow on sports betting. But I know you've been working at the casino for a while over there in Salem, New Hampshire. What's the best game for beginners or people who are just getting into gambling?
Honestly, before I even went into the room, the first thing I would do is educate yourself.
Right.
There's all sorts of books, YouTube videos.
That's true.
I figured if I was going to go to the casino, I'm going to at least be an educated moron.
Right.
And, nobody's a long-term gambling winner. Almost no one.
Right. Pretty much.
If you watch some YouTube videos and stuff like that, you can put yourself in the best position to be successful.
Right.
It's like craps, for instance, which they really don't offer in New Hampshire because it's a $10 maximum bet. But there's so much going on. I consider myself decent at craps. I probably only know 75% of the game.
Really?
It's a lot going on.
And now craps, you throw the dice,
You throw the dice.
So how do you get an edge when you roll the dice?
There's no edge. You just gotta. It's almost like you gotta cover all your bases. It's hard to explain in craps, just as it's such a complicated game, But because I know a game like roulette, for instance.
Right.
You want to hit and run in that game. You want to be able to hit 3 bets in a row and get the hell out. That's usually my game plan, but it doesn't always go according to plan. And sometimes I stay a little longer than I should.
That's what the casino likes.
Exactly. You should go into the casino with an X amount of money that you're going to lose, but also an X amount of money like if I win this much, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Right.
There's so many times I've been there where I'm like, all right, I want to make $500, and I make $500 in the first 20 minutes. I'm like, well, I came and I like to play, so I'm going to hang out, and then I give it all back and I go in my pocket for a little.
I was going to say, you give it all back and then some.
It makes no sense.
What's the quickest way you can win $500 at the casino for any people winning looking to come up on a quick buck?
Playing poker.
Poker is
you're buying for $300
at
1-2. You double up, you got $600 in front of you.
Right.
That could happen. You can just shove all in every hand. You can bet all the money in front of you at any point.
Do people actually do that?
Buddy, I've seen some sick shit.
I was gonna say being a dealer, you must have seen some sick.
I've seen guys into the game for 4,000. They got 800 in front of them. I go through my rotation of tables. I come back 4 or 5 hours later. They got heaps in front of them. It's just like, okay, you did something right after a while. Eventually, they're gonna get lucky.
Right. Well, getting lucky. And then is there anybody who you see in there on a regular basis who actually does it professionally?
Oh yeah, we got probably 3 dozen professionals.
Really, that many? Absolutely. So you got that many
people
coming in.
Some will travel to just they'll stay at Foxwoods for a couple weeks. They'll stay at Mohegan for a week. They'll hit Encore. Come over. Like they'll stay in the Ship on Motel next to next to Chase's. Sorry if you own the Ship Bum Motel next to Chase's, but it's a Ship Bum Motel.
Hey, whatever you're gonna do, man, when you're just in the area for a quick hit and a run.
Yeah, exactly.
So poker is probably the only game where you can technically be a professional. I know some people do it in blackjack, and they're like counting cards. How realistic is that? Is that even a thing?
Absolutely.
It is, really.
I mean,
can you count cards? I know you've been in the business for a while.
I mean, probably semi-unsuccessfully. You know, I'm usually halfway drunk anyway, so I don't know how good my counting skills are.
Right.
But even from what I've read,
Yeah.
even the best card counter at his best is only going to have a 5% house edge
Okay.
in their favor.
Right.
So they still have to get lucky. You still have to play the game correctly to put yourself in the best position to win.
Right.
And you can still get unlucky. It still is gambling.
Because what are the odds when it comes to blackjack? Is that like 52 to 53 to 47
I think
or
it's
something?
like a 2.5% house edge.
Right.
And if you count, it almost neutralizes it. But I read this one book that was like, if you're a high roller and you play correctly,
Right.
you do everything right with your comps and everything, and you're a decent card counter, you're going to even out and have just a decent pastime, and maybe you stay in a nice luxury room every once in a while, get some free meals.
Right. Now, do they have that type of stuff where they give you free comps at Chases? I know at Foxwoods you can accrue points, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it matters how much you're at the table.
I think it has to do with time.
Okay.
I know they want winners back.
Right.
Because you took something from them, so they're like, here's a free room. Come
Yeah.
gamble again. We like you.
Right, because I'm sure overall the odds are in their favor. So they're like, if you've been winning, they want you to keep coming back. And I think that's probably part of the people is like when you win, you get a rush. Mm-hmm. So you always want to keep going. You always want to keep playing. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
you
got to ride the wave,
right.
as they say.
Yeah, like you said before, you gone in, you won $500 in 20 minutes. Then you're like, oh my god, this is easy.
I should get up, go get something nice to eat, and get the hell out of there.
Right.
But, I enjoy playing, and that's as most gamblers do.
And then
enjoy the rush.
Right.
Partially is the rush.
You get it in your mind that you can keep winning.
It's usually in my mind that I'm going to donate it back, and I start playing like super passive, and I don't play hands, and then I get into a position where I think I can't be beat, and sure enough I get beat.
I had a guy tell me once who played a lot of poker. He said that if you play the cards and not the money, you're going to do much better. And he was explaining to me, like, if he gets the cards and he thinks in his mind that it doesn't matter how much money is on the table, he just plays the cards based on what they are. And that if he puts a lot of money in, he notices, like, other people will get nervous. So their cards haven't changed, but the amount of money has. So now their mindset's getting a little bit different because there's more money at the table, but the cards are the exact same. You think that you see that a lot?
Mostly, like, old people play like that. But,
do they?
I think seasoned vets, people are over here to have a good time. They're not scared. Open-ended straight draw, flush draw. They're seeing that shit to the end.
Right.
They're there to have a good time. They're not calculating odds like, how many cards, after the flop, how many cards help me? How many cards hurt me? What does this guy have? What does he think that I think that he thinks that I have?
Right.
And that's what a lot of these kids that do it for a living, like I said, I know probably 3 dozen professionals.
That's a lot.
I walk into Encore and it's like, hey, Harold, blah, blah, blah.
Do you like Encore? I know you work at Chase's. You've been in there a few times just to check out the ambiance, right?
If New Hampshire Gaming was able to stay open past 1 a.m., there'd be no reason for me to go to Encore.
Is that they close at 1 a.m.?
Close at 1 a.m.
Is that a state law?
State law.
Wow.
So, if I'm going to start playing at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not going to go to Chase's because I can only play for 3 hours.
Right.
And it's like let's say you go down the first 2 hours. Now you're restricted in that last hour. It's going to change how you play. Like, oh man, I got to get it back. I got to leave soon.
Poker's a longevity game, right?
Most gambling is. You should look at it as a longevity game, especially blackjack.
Right.
People say you're a lunatic if you play roulette, but I've seen some serious runs. And I watched what the players who I saw continually taking money off the table did, and I try to duplicate that.
Right.
Put my own spin on it.
Is that a thing? People see people who are winning and they try and copy them?
Absolutely.
Do people get mad at that? Or
No,
people
doesn't
encourage
affect
it?
them.
Right.
Some people are like, oh, you give me bad luck.
Yeah.
I did a weird accent.
That's all right. That's
the racism.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
no. Now somebody from Central Versailles is going to yell at me.
Well, they're going to yell at me, I guess.
They're going to yell at Howard. They're going to yell at Howard.
You got this idiot on your podcast now.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
So you see a lot of people over there. They're just playing for fun. I know you said like there's 3 dozen
you know,
professionals, but
the professionals call them recreational players.
Right.
But, you know, like, how did you call with X? I'm here to have a good time, buddy. I'm fucking 7 beers deep. What are you breaking my balls for? Go fuck yourself.
Right. So
And then I'm sitting in the box. I'm like, be nice to him. Please behave, guys. Come on. I'm essentially a glorified babysitter.
I was just gonna say those
exactly
I was gonna
what
say
it
those
is.
exact words. So you being the dealer, like you must be a glorified babysitter because one, I know you're gonna deal with a lot of drunks, right?
A decent amount. Most people are drinking.
Most people are drinking. How many people are getting rowdy? Do you think that's more at Encore?
No.
Half?
People are there. I think they feel a little more comfortable here, so they get a little rowdier there. You act out
Okay.
at Encore, they're going to break your
Actually,
chops.
that's true. That's true. They got a whole security
It's
team, right?
professional
They
up
got
there. I've
bouncers.
seen some people yanked out of Encore. It's
Have you?
pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Is it, yeah. What are they doing? They get some yanked out.
Oh, they get
Just being
swarmed.
assholes.
They're like, buddy, you leave right now, and it's okay. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave. And they fucking swarmed him. They dragged him out.
Really?
Kicking and screaming like a lunatic.
People want to gamble that bad, huh?
He felt smited. I didn't hear the whole situation, but somebody at the table did something he didn't like. It was an angle. It is what it is.
Right.
Everywhere you go where there's money involved, people are going to learn some sort of angle and
Right,
use
and-
it against you.
That's going to bring out hostility
Absolutely.
and rivalries and all
you know,
that stuff.
Right.
So, all right, perfect. All right, before we wrap up, I got to ask you. So, you're on the other side of the table usually. I know you gamble
Yeah.
yourself, but you're
Yeah.
typically a dealer on all sorts.
A much better dealer than a player. I will
Are you?
say
Okay.
that,
I've heard you're a
definitely.
very good dealer.
Halfway decent.
My buddy goes in there a lot. He gives his compliments. He always says
I
you're
like
a great
that.
dealer. So that's
I
a fact
appreciate
right
that.
there. We have a true testimonial there. But how many people do you have to deal with who are just assholes? And what is the etiquette of treating the dealer half decent? So you know people lose and then they
honestly,
they
dude,
just shove it to you.
If you tip me better, I'm gonna let you break my balls more.
Right.
I really don't like. But if you're a stickler, you're abiding by the rules. I'm not letting you break anything. You know, like, hey, please don't swear at the table, sir.
Right.
I swear at the table. You know, like if you're swearing at the table and you're one of those guys, I'm not dealing with it.
Right, and is that what one of the things is that like the funniest and like most outgoing people actually tip the best, and then the sticklers just argue about everything and never give you a dime?
I mean, it's like anything. It's like working in a restaurant. Old
Right.
people don't tip as much. You know, generally friendlier people tip better.
Right.
I mean, the good outweighs the bad, always.
Right. And I've heard that in the restaurant industry that like the nicest people tip the most, and like the worst people who argue over everything tip the least.
Well,
So I was just figuring that might carry over. I know
when you see someone pull
carries
up, in
over
a,
a lot.
pull up in a Benz and they're playing the big game and they're tipping you $1 a hand, it's like, all right, man.
right. What's average? What's the average tip that you give? Well, does it depend on how much you win?
Varies. Yeah, it definitely varies.
Right.
Generally, people tip $1 a hand.
Okay. Even
in
if you
poker.
lose, do you tip or only the winner?
No. Well, it's different in table games compared to poker, but let's just talk about poker first. Every hand there's a winner.
Right.
And winner and a loser at the very least. So usually the winner will give you $1. You know, they win a couple $100, maybe $2 to $5. Like I shipped a
That
kid.
adds up,
I
man.
shipped a kid $8,000 one time.
Wow.
And he tipped me $100. So,
Wow.
You know. Some people thought that was a small tip. I'm like, dude, he just gave me $100. I made
$100 is a really good
seconds.
tip, but then when you do the percentage, it's like I don't know, it's less than 10%. 10% would have been $800, right?
Yeah, but
that would have been
that's
nice. That would have been
that's a
extraordinarily
huge
generous.
tip. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
All right. So, any tips if you're going in, you're starting gambling, you haven't gambled before? What tips do you have for people here? You said educate yourself, but
don't play above your head.
yeah, don't gamble the mortgage.
Don't let the fire take over how you play. Play with your head, not above it.
That's great advice. You hear that advice, Ed? There we go. All right, Harold. I appreciate you coming on, man. Plug Chases. Let them know where to go. Where's the address? Where it's at?
Chases, Exit 1, Veterans Memorial Parkway, Salem, New Hampshire.
There you
For your
go.
gambling needs, come in. I'll be telling jokes, talking shit, having a good time. You might see me on the other side of the table. You can take my money.
There you go. How can you say no to
exactly.
that? Telling jokes, cracking smiles, drinking beers. Come see Harold at
it's a good
Chases.
time, man.
It's a good time. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.